Welcome back to Chen Design. Today I would like to take some time to show you every single part of this design and how to build them in Rhino. Are you ready? Let's get started. That's starting with bringing one stone, and if you wanted to know how to make this stone, I have the link on the right top corner, or you can download. There's a link at the description below. Okay, so we want to make the seat for this one. So I'm going to just create a cylinder underneath it, and we want the cylinder not to be bigger than this usually. But in this case, since I'm going to do the cluster, so I might need to make it a little bit bigger. So here's what I'm going to do. In the stone setting, you don't want to have a cooler, which is the point of the stone to stick it out. And we also want to cut it this taper. So I simply just want to have a bevel edge. So let's go ahead to try the bevel for 0.4. And let's click on this edge inside. So then your jeweler doesn't have to cut a lot. Basically, a lot of time, I do not want this seat to be C on the top. I have more information about why and there's a reason in my stone setting class. But in this case, I want them to be just a little bit bigger. It's because we're going to do the cluster setting. All right, so then we are going to design the prong. You could have this getting a little bit longer if you want to, and we can trim it all at once if that works better for you. But it's really up to you for how long you want it, as long as the cooler does not stick it out. That's really important part. Let's go ahead to make a prong. I'm going to draw just a straight line coming just a little bit over the table, and then coming down something like this. And then we are going to use the pipe command. Let's go ahead to pipe it for what you think is the proper size. In my case, I'm going to have something like this. I usually don't want it to have the stone cutting more than 20-25%. Then the prong is because the prong was gonna get too weak. And we are going to use the polar array. And let's try the polar array, and I'm going to hit 0 as my center, and I want to have 6 of them, and I will get something like this. So I'm going to change the stone into other layer and change to other color as well, so it's easier for you to see. All right, so now we have the stone there. We are going to do the cluster. So I'm going to just temporary to group up everybody, because I don't know if that is what I'm going to have. I might need to adjust the prong at this point. Next things I wanted to do is I want to making a copy roughly about this. You can make the stone the same size, or you want to make them smaller. It's up to you. But I like to tilt it this one and move it down a little bit like this. So that will be my first stone for the cluster. I may want to moving in a little bit, or tilt it, or make it lower, whichever you think the position is going to look nice. Watch out something over here. You do not want the prong to be stick together. It won't look nice. So we want to get it as close as possible, but do not want to have the prong like 100% stick together. It's hard, like what I have here. It's hard for your jeweler to set. So make sure you have a little bit distant there. All right, so now we have this one. Let's give it a try. We're going to do polar array, and we're going to have 6 of them, and that's recorded history just in case we want to move them. All right, so make sure that everything looks nice there. In this case, sometimes I would like to have a center stone is a little bit bigger, but it's up to you for what you like to do. Let me try this to make the center stone a little bit bigger, so that filling the space much better, but it's up to you for what you like to do. So now this is the center for my cluster. So if everything look okay, we're going to stop here, and we are going to work on the rest of it. Next I wanted to do is do the design like outside of those stone. And we are going to using the start command. Make sure the number is equal 6 of them, and I want them to be something look like this, and coming into inside something look like this. All right, and make sure that they fit it really well. And we are going to use the command, it's called Fillet Corners. And let's try something a little bit big like 3 here. So we'll get this over here. Now if it is touching, you can enlarge if you want to. I want to keep it like this first and see how that goes with the rest of the stuff, and we want to move it down for whatever the position is going to be. So somewhere like this will be what I have there. Next, we wanted to know what is the size of a stone is going to be set there. I say I'm going to copy this stone to the top. On my top view, I'm going to scale down this stone and somewhere about 2 millimeters or less. And this is just a guideline for us to know where the stone is going to sit. I'm also want to see the side view and see if I'm moving this one back to here, will that touching, will that be too much of a space or something like that. And you can consider to make this smaller, bigger, whichever that fitting into your design. And I'm going to stay like this. I'm roughly wanted to know what size of my stone is. In the reality, most of the time, you know your stone size before you actually make them. So you have to make to fit your stone. And the demonstration, I'm just go by aesthetic and see which one look nice. So the stone is roughly about 1.7 millimeter. I'm going to offset this guy to be 2 millimeter. And so I'm going to offset twice. That's once, that's 2. So that's showing where the boundary is going to be. This one in the middle, it's for me, it's going to arrange my stone. But I do want them to be kind of taper a little bit. So I'm going to move the outer one down like this. And then going to use the command for loft. And we're going to loft from here to here. And so that will be the surface for our stone to sit on. And of course, you see the stone is sticking out like this. So I'm going to move the stone roughly close to the surface there. And also want to move it down. So this is how my stone is going to sit. And if it is not following well, we're just gonna manually to move it down something like this. Okay, so the proper way to sit the stone, I have a lot of explanation in my stone setting class, but in this case, I'm just gonna quickly to talk about it. You want a girdle to be sit flat with your surface. That's basically what we are looking for. Okay, so let's give it a try. We're going to use the array tool. We're gonna array along curve, and let's pick up the stone, hit enter, and we're gonna pick up the path, and which is the one in the middle. How many do we need? I don't know, I'm just guessing maybe 28. And you want to make sure that the gap that you have in between depends on what type of prong you're going to put it, whether you're going to use the shear prong or you're going to have full prong for each of a stone. And I would like to have a shear prong, so maybe I want to get the stone a little bit closer. So 30, and let's try 32. Okay, so 32 look nice. In my stone setting class, I also talk about the distance in between. I usually like to have 0.1 millimeter to 0.2 millimeter. You cannot get it 0. It's because the stone never coming into exact size, so you need to have some tolerance for it. All right, so 32 look nice for the shear prong, so I'm going to stop there, and that will be my stone arrangement. So that's now making prong there. I'm going to use the straight line, and again I'm gonna coming over here. We don't need to be too long on the bottom because it's going to be trimmed off, and I'm going to pipe it this one, and we are going to try the radius for 0.35 and see if the prong size look all right. I mean, it look huge on the side view, but if you look at the top view, it looks something like this. And we want to moving our prong over here to see if that fitted well. And double make sure that you wanted to have a prong touching the stone on both sides. You do not want them to be only touching on one side. Make sure that it's not cutting too much, something like this. The prong will break for sure. So we want to coming back and make sure it's touching on the both sides. Okay, and we want to make a copy over there, roughly something like this. And again, you want to make sure it's touching on the both sides. Sometimes if it is, the space is usually in the inner side of this prong, it's a little bit too small, then you can make the prong size smaller if you want to. I usually keep it the same, and also maybe enlarge this one. And if you are interested about what size of a stone for what size of a prong, I have the whole discussion in my course as well. I don't want to spend too much time here. I want to show you something else. All right, so now we get it really close to inside. Then we have something like that. Double check if that look all right to you. I'm going to move them into other layer and change to other color as well, so it's easier for you to see. All right, so now this is my prong. And then if that look all right to you, we are going to pick up both of them. And let's go ahead to use exactly the same number coming into the transform array along curve. And we are going to pick up the same curve and the same number for 32. So now this is what we get for the prong. All right, double check if any of the prong is not in the right place. If everything look okay to you, we are going to turn this surface into the solid. There are two ways to make it into the solid. First, you can coming into the solid, you have extruded surface, and then you can extrude it straight, and you can pick up the surface and you can extrude it. If you don't like this direction, you can actually coming into the direction here, and you can using your mouse to tell like what direction you want them to go. So let's say we want them to go like this. So that's one way to extrude it. And but kind of notice that it's extruded into the angle here, but the same angle there. The other option you have is when you extruded surface, then you want them to be tapered. So you pick up this surface and you want to taper it down for whatever degree you're going to have. So that way it will be the correct extrusion. So they won't like tilt it on the side. All right. So that's one way to do it. The other way that you can do, you can actually just using the offset surface, and we can pick up this surface and we want to offset. So now it's offset to the top. We want to flip all of them down, and the distance I want to say 0.85 is actually pretty good distance. So that way we can offset that as well. It's similar like taper. The taper you can choose the angle for it. The offset they will just automatically calculate it. All right, so now we have all the part ready, and I will suggest you to do one thing is to fillet the edges, because whenever you fillet the edges, it will look much nicer on the rendering. So we are going to try a small fillet, and let's try here, 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 and here, especially outside edges, anything like anywhere that you can see you want to fillet. But since we are going to fillet, let's go ahead to fillet every single edges there, and I'm gonna pick up all 4 of them. All right, so if we take a look on the render, you can see it's much nicer. It's rounded there. Back to the ghost view. All right, so how do we do the bottom one to be those like web looking things? So I'm coming into the front view. I'm going to draw a line, simply gonna go somewhere like here, here, coming over to be something like this. And if you don't like the shape, you can change it if you want to. And now I'm looking at this one, double make sure they are flat. This curve is flat. So let me create another layer, change that curve into other objects so I can turn this off. It's easier for us to see. See, it is not flat, and the reason it's not flat is because it was snapping into all snap into the object. All we need to do is coming into the front view, use the commands for projected to CPlane, and we want to delete input. So now you see it's flat. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back on that one because we will need this curve. So let me grab that and change the layer as well. Okay, so now you can see we have this curve, and we also have this for rail. To making a surface, we wanted to do is to do rail revolve, and we are going to pick up this one. The rail is this one, And the axis is actually snapping into the 0. I'm gonna draw a line just holding my shift and click on this, and so then you will get this surface there. All right, beautiful surface, and we're going to use this surface to creating our curve. Now there are so many lines over there, so I'm going to do is to rebuild this line to be even. On the top I'm going to do 12 of them. The bottom, it doesn't matter. If you wanted to have your cage have a more line, you may want to do more, like 24, whatever. So let's say maybe 18 of them and see what happens. So it's evenly out for 18 of them. You can have one stone, every one stone have one line there. So since we have 32 stone, you can change here to 32 if you want to, but I think it's just too many curve. So I'm going to do maybe 24. And make sure that your degree is 3 and 3, and let's click OK. All right, so now we have this curve. Let me go ahead to hiding everybody first beside our surface, so it's not get too confused. See all those lines there, and we need to have those lines for us to do the piping. So coming into the curve, you have the curve from the object. You have extract wireframe. So then we're gonna click on this one. Now we can delete our surface. See all those beautiful lines that we can use for piping. So I'm gonna delete this one, delete that one. Okay, so let's go ahead to pick up everybody. We are going to use the pipe command, and let's pipe it not something like a way too fat. So 0.35 on the radius over there. This will be our nest in the back. So let me turn on the rest of it. Let's take a look. Notice that this is a little bit too wide. We should, check on it before we actually pipe it. One thing you can do is you can pick up all your pipe. Coming to the top, we can scale it down. Something like this. This is like 2D scale. Put it like here. And double check if they look all right. Okay, so now look like this is a little bit ugly inside of it. So we are going to hiding this piping things over here. Let's go ahead to pick up all the thing right here, and let's do the Boolean Union there. So if everything looks all right to you, you're not gonna changing, then we're gonna do the Boolean Union. It say it will break your history. That's okay. And we also wanted to trim it, so I'm going to draw a big box right there and bring down a little bit for whatever we are going to cut. And let's go ahead to use a Boolean Difference this out of this one. All right, and let's bring back to the cage there. All right, so it looked nice over there. However, remember this one and this one is not touching yet. All right, so we need to make sure it's touching. I mean, the design can be really freely for what you like to do for them to touch. Sometimes it's important for polish, and that means all of this might be casting in one piece, and all of the rest of them will cast in other piece. So that way you can polish inside, and then you can solder this one back to here. So all you need to do is design some sort of a key there. So you could have design a puzzle, and that will puzzle this piece and this piece back together. So that way you can polish inside. After that, you can put the jump ring and you can put the bell, and then that will be this design with the cluster setting and bead setting on the side for this pendant. I hope you enjoy the video. There's a lot more trick and tips in my membership program. Hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. See you next.